And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by our good friends at Hail Mary Sports Bar in Cheviot, right on Harrison Avenue. They're in the Dora District, so you can walk from bar to bar with your drinks. They have 27 TVs, 9-screen video wall. There's not a bad seat in the house for viewing the big game. They subscribe to every sports package that DirecTV offers, so they can stream all the games. Cincinnati sports will always be on the video wall. They have a brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines. Not only do they pour the coldest beer around, but they pour it in 32.8-degree beer frosted glasses. Get out and see our good friends at Hail Mary Sports Bar. All right, Aaron. It was a nice, quiet couple days. I've been working diligently on the basketball hot board. I am down to I'm waiting on one final phone call to be able to put that thing into the world. So look for that either today or at the latest tomorrow, either tonight or at the latest tomorrow. So been working and getting ready to tomorrow morning make that first trek out to higher ground to take in practice. So
nice.
Excited. What can you say? How can you not be excited about football?
Looked like they were getting after it today at higher ground.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it was open to the media, but it was not. So what can you do? We've had 3 days of practice. They've practiced now 4 times. We just didn't get to see the 4th one. But the pads go on, full pads tomorrow. So it's go time for the Bearcats. There's quite a bit I'm looking for as we get out there. It's interesting because you have your name circled, right? New guys, and you're focusing on, okay, I want to get a look at this guy and I want to get a look at that guy. And then what's been interesting for me, Aaron, over the past couple of days is you start to catch on to guys that maybe weren't top of mind, guys that you weren't really like thinking about making an impact. That we talked about Logan Wilson, who was here in the spring, but there were a couple guys ahead of him on the depth chart that were kind of more splashy. But Logan Wilson starts flashing and making plays, and then you look along the defensive line, and a guy like Harris Adams, who came in late, and I think the initial feel on Harris Adams when they recruited him was hopefully he'll be a guy that gives us a good practice body and a little bit of a depth piece, and then he has a couple good days. Now it was without the pads on, so we'll get a better representation of that. But
defensive line can be a little easier to fake without pads on.
When they're just playing patty cake with each other, it's unless it's Marquez Parker, and then you better be ready for him to try to pick you up and carry you somewhere. Pads on, pads off, it doesn't really matter. But I think that's one of the interesting things for me as we get into this next phase of camp. That's new, Aaron. Transfers before, there weren't many of them. And you knew exactly who they were within the first hour, right? Okay, I got to keep an eye on this guy. I got to keep an eye on this guy. I'm still okay, 26 is Cam Rutherford, and 24 is Darian Varner, and 93 is Harris Adams, and 98 is Marquez Parker. And you're still processing so much of this new information that it makes it difficult, but it kind of makes camp, that makes this period a little bit more interesting, at least, because still a lot of learning to do for everybody. And it's got to be the same way for the coaching staff, right? They're still figuring out what they've got.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't think that they've figured out at this point, especially with the spring transfers, with the incoming freshmen that weren't here for the spring. Those guys, you've seen what they can do on tape, perhaps, and you've seen glorified walkthroughs, and live action. I guess you can call it live action, but it's not the same when you have pads on. And even what you see at Camp Higher Ground, it's still not going to be what we see line up game 1 against Towson.
FBS Northeast or FBS Middle East. No, that's not right.
No. But you know what I'm saying? Like they'll have a general idea. I think the most interesting thing though is going to be able to finally see Tyson Vite's defense in full action and getting to see what that actually looks like in full swing with a live 11-on-11. That's what I'm interested in.
So they tried to sneak it in on us, Aaron, but I think at the end of practice on Friday, the defense was in 1s and 2s. Because you could hear them yelling 2's up, which you normally, that's like a normal thing that you hear. 1's up, 2's up, before they switch.
Friday afternoon news dump.
Yeah. So it was, the defensive line is still, they're experimenting there, especially with Dante out. Like when Dante comes back, that becomes a lot easier to figure out. But with Micah Coleman out and Dante not really going full, I don't know that they even know really, what a 1s and 2s looks like on the defensive line. But you're starting to see it at linebacker. You're starting to see it safety. I think you're starting to see at corner. I think right now it's Jordan Young and Ormani Arnold. Back across the back line at safety, I think you're looking, at least with the 1s, you're looking at Josh Minkins and Derek Canteen on the outside, and then Mekhi Miller at the star position. And then linebackers, a lot of fun. Because, you've got a bunch of dudes there that are all kind of battling for 3 spots. And you've got obviously Jack Dingle and Jonathan Thompson, kind of the incumbents. And then Brian Sims, who looks like a different person. Like,
it's not
looks like a different person. He was 250 plus, almost 260 pounds.
Well, hence Dave asking on Wednesday if Brian Sims could slide down to defensive end. And you're like, no, he's a linebacker now.
He's 228. Like, he does not look like the guy that I like. He looks like there's a different guy wearing 17. It was like when Eric Phillips lost a human in a month. Like 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. He was 330 and he came back like 330 going into the summer, and he came back at 290, and we're like, where's the rest of you? Like, what happened? Did you purposely get a tapeworm over the break? But it's always amazing to me, like what they can do, like when they really kind of set their mind to, okay, we're gonna go with a different body type for this year. It's not something I've ever really just gonna change my body type in a month. Just kind of naturally let it happen how it happens.
I was gonna say it was a much longer process. That just
it is what it is.
Right.
Anything you're anticipating, you're wanting to hear? Because look, these are going to be the only, like, now that you're about to go into full-time stay-at-home dad of 4,
daddy daycare,
you're going to be looking forward to every night. Like, I just need somebody to talk to me about something, anything that's not Bluey or making sure that the 2-year-old doesn't assassinate the infant.
I'm gonna have to have the infant strapped to me, literally at all times. I'm not kidding.
Have you looked into a helmet?
It's just, I'm going to be wearing this sash anyway. No, I'm looking to see. We've hit a lot of these storylines, but I'm looking to see that depth at running back. I'm looking to see, obviously, what we have at quarterback. There's, outside of Lichtenberg, these are all new faces. So kind of curious to see what we have going on there. Wide receiver behind Xavier Henderson. What do we have? Show me what you got. Tight end. That's an entirely new room. There's nobody.
Yeah, I will say at tight end, Francis Sherman has caught my eye multiple times over the first couple days. So I'm interested to see what he looks like in pads because I think that was very much an under the radar addition. It didn't get talked about a whole lot,
Yeah.
but
Oh.
I mean, he's 6'3", he's 240, he's physical. He looks like he runs pretty good routes. Now I've talked about, he's going to be a guy that's attached. So like the Lenny Taylor type where he's always going to be on the line of scrimmage as opposed to, with Royer, you're going to be able to split him out. With Grover, you're going to be able to split him out. Belgian. So just a different style than the other guys in that room. Yeah. I'm interested to see him. Backup offensive line, second team offensive line, I think is an important one as well.
But who's our backup center? I don't know. Do you?
I mean, it's probably Evan Tengestal, I would guess. But I mean, he's never really done it at a high level before. So
we'll see.
Yeah. Now that's one of those, Aaron. Who's the backup center? Well, that depends. Are you talking about the backup center in practice, or are we talking about in the event that somebody has to go out there when the bullets are live and play center?
And that'll be interesting to see. I think just in general, formation subs will be interesting to see, especially offensively, because we really have no idea what we're working with on this offense. I mean, you're looking at almost an entire new offense outside of Corey Kiner and Xavier Townsend, or I'm sorry, Xavier Henderson. And
the offensive line, but the rest of the skill guys are
the skill positions. Yeah. So that'll be fun to watch, especially seeing different matchups against a defense we haven't seen before, and see how they match up against a defense that we'll see. Potentially, there's talks about the rest of the Big 12 eventually ending up with a defense that looks similar to this. So we'll see how that goes. But
there's actually the interesting part is, Aaron, there's actually talks of Iowa State going away from it and going back to 4 down linemen, and Kansas State going away from it and going back to 4 down linemen. So that's the chess match that is the Big 12, because I don't think people the Big 12 is not the league that you watched 3-4 years ago when everybody started switching to these 3-3-5s and guarding the spread, so teams weren't scoring 80 points anymore. Now it's kind of corrected almost the complete other way. Like if you're listening to the shows that Dave and I do on Wednesday nights where we bring on somebody, they're always talking about how good their run game is. Because everybody said, well, if you're going to get smaller and you're going to spread out, we're going to get bigger and we're going to run right at you. And Cincinnati did that obviously last year. So it's interesting.
It is. So I'm just, and then of course you name a position group, maybe the biggest position group for battling for that position that, as you mentioned, it would be linebacker, because I think you got a lot of guys who can compete to earn a starting spot. Yeah. And I don't think any of these spots are given to any of these. But defensive line will be who falls in where. Corners has to be better than last year. Has to be better. But that whole defensive backfield should be interesting to watch. I don't know. You name a position group essentially outside of offensive line, and there's a storyline. And when was the last time you were able to say that?
You know what the best part, like that, this is probably the only time I'll ever say this. You know what the most exciting part of practice has been every day?
No.
Mason Fletcher v. Max Fletcher.
That's awesome.
We are all standing there like, who's going to be better today? Boom. That's a good one. Boom. That's a good one. Boom. That's a good one. Like,
God,
never in a million years did I think got to be around, got to be front and center when the punters get going.
Just imagine how much fun those two dudes are having playing with their brother at this point. How much money the parents are going to save visiting these United States, being able to go to one school, one city, and see both kids. You were able to do that when Cincinnati played Arkansas a couple seasons ago now. But yeah, it's.
I mean, both of them just have rocket launchers connected to their hip. So
Talent for days.
It's been pretty fun. It's been pretty fun to watch those two go at it.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Which one was that? Well, they're 30 and 31. Like, make it a little easier on us, fellas.
And their bodies look
in helmets, they look almost identical.
Sure.
So, all right. Well, wish me luck. First trip to higher ground in the morning. We will be back with practice report and the BBP and all of that good stuff tomorrow night. Aaron, Godspeed tomorrow.
Yeah, I hear the baby screaming right now. I have no idea what's even happening up there.
That's the nightcap.
Hope that's not an omen.
Brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!